Every day in this community, I get questions about how to start an at-home business. Recently, I did a video where I walked you through how I grew my at-home business to 6 figures a year. And today, what I really want to do is I want to help you with everything you need to start your at-home business. There are a lot of things you need to put in place, both in terms of your legal structure, your accounting, how you capture payments, and there's so many things that you need to understand if you're going to start your own at-home business. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to recommend 5 books for you if you're starting an at-home business that I think will really make a difference for you. Speaking of things that can make a difference for you, today's video is sponsored by my friends at PayPal. PayPal, you're probably familiar with them. They're an online payment processing platform. I use them as part of the backbone of my business. I use them for processing the payments through awesomecreatoracademy.com, which is my coaching business. When I was a freelancer, I also used it to invoice my clients. And today, when I hire people who are probably running their at-home business, when I hire my freelance talent, a lot of them invoice me through PayPal, and that's how I pay my freelancers. So go ahead and use the link in the description down below to start your free PayPal account and get your business up and running. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here and you're completely unfamiliar with me, it's totally okay. My name's Roberto Blake. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I'm a YouTube marketer, public speaker at events like VidCon and social media marketing world. I built my own successful coaching business. I did this as an at-home business. Since a lot of you are starting your very own at-home business, I thought it'd be important to do a video that can tell you everything that you need when you're getting started. And one of the most important things is putting your business in place in terms of the legal structure and the things that you need in terms of accounting. And what I want to do is I'm not going to give you legal advice. I have to give you a full disclaimer there, but I'm going to tell you some of the things you need to know, and I'm going to point you in the right direction on that. Also, I'm going to get into a lot of the other things that you probably didn't even think of when it comes to starting your business. Now, believe it or not, in terms of legal advice, often you can get a consultation from a lawyer for free in terms of some initial questions you have with setting up your business. I chose to set up my business as an LLC, and there are obviously some tax benefits to that, and there are other reasons that you will want to do it. But you want to consult a lawyer to figure out what the best strategy is for you and what the local rules are and ordinances for where you live. If you live in a country outside the United States, the rules are going to be very different. That's why I can't give you the specific details and advice, and I tell you that you need a lawyer. There might be things in your city or your county or your state that are specific to businesses that operate there. So I always advise you to learn the local laws when it comes to operating and setting up your business. The other thing that I will tell you is that you can also look at getting business insurance. Sometimes there will be recommendations that a lawyer can make that can help you save a little bit of money where this is concerned, or make sure that you have all the insurance you need, because having the right coverage is much more important than saving money. Speaking of money, always get an accountant. The first year that you're doing this kind of thing, maybe you don't necessarily have to jump the gun year one and get an accountant, but I would recommend it. And if not, I would say at least make sure that you're doing your taxes through a tax office. Not only will they give you great advice and understand some things about business that you might because you're new to this, but they'll usually be able to help you find extra deductions, save a lot of money when it comes to your taxes, and make sure that you're doing proper bookkeeping because you're probably not used to it. One of the great things about PayPal is that, one, I do a lot of my overall bookkeeping because I make my purchases for my business mostly through my PayPal account, but it's also where I process my payments, so that's really convenient. In terms of giving your accountant access to these things, the good news is that PayPal usually works with a lot of accounting software, the far majority of it. It works with QuickBooks and several other types of things that you can look into. I'm going to link to some accounting software down below. And, that's just going to help you keep all of your bookkeeping in a row and give your accountant, if you get one, access to that. The other thing that I would tell you is to consider what a lot of people do is they use things like QuickBook and TurboTax. Those things come highly recommended. To make a lot of the legal stuff easy, people tend to, when they're first starting their business, use LegalZoom. That's something that I've used in the past, and that there are things that I do in terms of that. There are a lot of you that have questions about, copyright, trademark. This is something that I deal with as a person whose business focuses a lot on intellectual property. And for a lot of people, the easiest thing is to use something like LegalZoom. But what I will say is I think that ultimately there are less headaches if you actually go through a lawyer and work with them directly one-on-one. That way you can ask questions that you really need to, and I just think that that's more practical. And I think the cost usually comes out roughly the same if you look into it. So yeah, that's going to be a recommendation there. Like I said, this does not qualify as legal advice. Talk to a lawyer, talk to an accountant. So that's the heavy stuff that I know a lot of you want videos on that, you never get them. Now you know why. It's that, we have to kind of tell you to go look at somebody who's licensed for those things because regulations. Not to mention, the rules might be different where you live. We have to account for the fact that this is the internet and I have no idea where you're operating your business. Let's move on to something simpler. You're running an at-home business. You need to have a dedicated space to operate your business in and to do your work in. Not everyone's going to have the benefit of a dedicated home office. I specifically, set that up and I had that in mind from the very beginning, but not everyone's going to have that ability. Not everyone's going to have that much space. So what I recommend is you consider making yourself a work corner or a cubicle. Get yourself at least a, nice desk that you can work at in terms of either your computer or your laptop. I also recommend that you have a computer that's dedicated to the business, something where you're not playing video games, something where you're not, goofing off or doing leisure activities, something that is really business focused for you. Having a dedicated space is just going to make things very easy for you in terms of focusing on your business and what you need to do. It's also going to help you with separating things in terms of work-life balance. So this is going to help with your mindset and your discipline. You also need to make sure that you're investing in the tools of your trade and your profession. You know what the differences is between an employer and an employee? Who owns the means of production? Who owns the resources, assets, and tools that allow the work to get done in the first place? When you're an employee, your boss owns all the tools and all the assets. But if you want to work for yourself, you need to make sure that you have the resources in order to accomplish your job and to deliver for your clients or your customers. So what I would say is that you need to account for that in your budget, which is something a lot of people don't do. They don't set a budget for their tools, their software, their hardware, their equipment. They take the fact that they're going to have to invest in these things for granted. And so I would say that you need to really be thinking about that and map that out. You don't have to have everything all at once, especially when you're getting started, but you need to have a plan to acquire those things over time. Which actually brings me to my next point. One of the things that you need, and maybe your accountant can help with this beyond the taxes, is you need to set a budget for your business. Now, initially, you'll be doing that on your own. I usually set a budget for my business that focuses on, well, what are the resources and services that I absolutely need day to day, month to month? But then what are the things that I know I want to buy or invest in? What are the events that I want to travel to for business? What's my emergency business spending? I have a fund set aside so that if I need to replace a laptop or a computer, that I can do that to get up and running again, or if I need something repaired, that I can do that. But I've also accumulated enough resources at this point to where I have a spare laptop. It's, I have a spare Windows laptop. It's not another Mac. That will come later. But the same thing even for my desktop. I have a spare powerful desktop computer that I can work from. So I did that over time. It didn't happen overnight. My emergency fund was very modest when I was first getting started. In fact, I'll probably make some videos in the future that kind of break out some of these individual things so that I can focus on them and give you some advice there. Investing in my equipment also led me to know that I needed to invest in insurance for my business in terms of liability insurance, but also insurance for all of my gear and equipment, especially since I know that I travel all the time. So again, this is something that you really need for your business. You need business insurance because you just never know what's going to happen. Let's talk about money. While money might not be everything, it is the backbone of your business. Your business needs to be profitable. Your business needs you to be able to invest in it. Ultimately, part of the reason that you started a business was you wanted financial freedom or you wanted extra resources to provide for you and your family. And so one of the reasons I love partnering with PayPal is how much they do for the small business community. In fact, I'm going to link to some of the resources in the PayPal Help Center because I think they gave a lot of information, a lot of advice, and people don't realize how much there is to starting a business. That's why I'm making some of these videos. Capturing money shouldn't cause you anxiety. One of the things that you're going to want to do, depending on what your business model is, because again, I'm making very general statements here because you might have a very different type of business than mine. But in most cases, a lot of these rules are going to be exactly the same regardless, especially in the age of the internet, which means for doing business today, you probably have a website. And if you don't have a website, you absolutely should have your own website, your own.com. Now, I'm going to link to some hosting solutions for you in the description. One of the ones that I recommend the most is usually Bluehost because it's very easy to set up a WordPress website that's search friendly. If you do not want to learn any kind of coding at all, then I usually recommend Wix. And so I'm going to link to those down below for you. But you can use any website host that you want. The point is, I recommend that when you do that, you link a way for people to pay you directly with PayPal. You can use PayPal buttons for buy now for your services or products or even for your subscriptions, and they make that very easy in terms of copy and pasting the code that you need directly into your website. You can also create your own custom PayPal Me link, and then people can click on that to pay you directly as well. So this makes things push button simple in terms of capturing your money, especially if your business requires you to capture a deposit or full payment up front. I will do a whole dedicated video about getting paid because I think that most business owners who are getting started, most freelancers, they often find themselves in a position where they get stiffed for payment. And that's very unfortunate because when you do work, when you deliver a product or a service, you absolutely are entitled to be paid for that. You shouldn't have to deal with it. PayPal makes sense because most people, regardless of where you are in the world, understand it, have access to it, and they trust the name and the brand. So that's going to make capturing money a lot easier for you. I've been using it for over a decade. In my business, I've processed over $100,000 through PayPal this year. So when I recommend this, it is really from a place of having understood how to use it and why it's beneficial. So again, when I'm recommending this, it's because it's something that I actually use in my business every single day. And for those of you who do local business in any way, shape, or form, I recommend that for your phone or your tablet that you use the PayPal here swipe, because what you can do is you can swipe and process debit and credit card payments with this. And it used to be that you have to have a convoluted payment processing system to do that. And now it's very convenient. If you're doing a client-based service business, you can also do direct invoicing, and PayPal will let you customize your invoices, itemize them, and make that very transparent for your customers. So this is really convenient. My freelancers bill me through PayPal, and that's how I get them paid. And it's a very simple transaction. And these are those little details that people don't think about that are a little bit boring to talk about in business. Everyone wants to talk about making six figures. No one wants to talk about the nitty-gritty details that happen in the back end. And you need to understand these things if you want to build and grow a successful business. Speaking of details, I recommend you have a detailed business plan. I think people neglect having a business plan and an outline for their business. How is your business going to make money? Who is the target market that you serve and that you provide services for? What are those services? And what's your model for generating not only revenue, but what's your plan and method for marketing yourself and making people aware of what you offer in terms of a product and service? These are important questions that you're forced to answer by creating a formal business plan. And it's something that people just neglect. I'm going to do a dedicated video about how to set up your own business plan, but I'm also going to link to some resources in the description, so make sure you're checking that out. Speaking of marketing your business, this entire channel has a lot of information that focuses on content marketing and content strategy because that's what I have done in my business to build my own brand, but it's also something that I've done to work with my clients and how I built out my coaching business. And you can do this through a lot of methods. You can do content marketing in the form of blog posts and articles with a website, which is why it's important to set one up. You can use that to generate an email list and do email marketing and do direct sales. You can also use advertising. Google and Facebook and Instagram have very affordable advertising, and it's very practical. If you subscribe to the channel and hit notifications, that's the kind of content that I put out on a regular basis here, as well as some of the tools and things you need in the back end to build your content. So I think that, if you want to watch those type of videos, I'm going to do some links in the info card up here that you can click on desktop or mobile, as well as in the description, so that you can kind of get your feet wet with content marketing, because the good news about content marketing is it's free. But if you have some money to invest in advertisements and you understand who your target market is, I'm fine with you taking a little bit of money to invest in paid advertising, as long as you're doing it to sell something that is worth more than the advertising that you're buying. Finally, I have a few recommendations for you in terms of books that I think can help you with your actual business development. And these are the books, or just a fraction of the books, that helped me. There are literally over 100 books that helped me build my business. I'm going to just share 5 with you real quick. For fundamentals, I highly recommend the Start Your Own Business book. This is the 7th edition of this book. Very powerful, especially for some of those questions like setting up the legal structure of your business, taxes, payroll, all of those things. I'm also going to recommend Book Yourself Solid with Michael Port. Michael Port is a phenomenal public speaker, but he also has a great system for helping you understand how to generate more business and clients. So for business development, this is top notch. In terms of the mindset with marketing and customer service in the digital world and social media, I'm going to recommend The Thank You Economy. It's not Gary Vaynerchuk's most popular book, but it is the book that I think is fundamentally the most important out of all the books that he's written. This is my favorite book by him, and I think that if you read this, you will be a better business person as a result. For those of you doing an at-home business, I think managing your time, your tools, and your systems are important, and for that, I recommend the 4-Hour Workweek. This is not about being lazy. A lot of people take that out of context. I'm going to do a whole video dedicated to this book because I think it's that important. So pick this book up either as an audiobook or sit down and read it, and I think that will benefit you. And then finally, my favorite book out of this is 6 Months to Six Figures by Peter Voogd. This book has fundamentally transformed the way that I approach business, and I think that this book will actually be why my business grows from 6 figures to 7 figures over the next few years. So I couldn't endorse this book more. Peter is phenomenal. I'm also going to link down below to his podcast. You have to give it a listen. This book is the gospel as far as I'm concerned. And there you have it. That is my roundup on everything you need to start your at-home business. I know that there are probably some more things you have questions about that may or may not have been covered in this video in enough detail for you. So not only will I be making more videos that go into those details, but I want your questions in the comment section so that you can dictate the other videos that I will be making on this channel, because I want your feedback. I want to solve those questions for you, and I want to help you grow your business. For those of you who want to work with me in terms of one-on-one coaching or join my group program to help you with your online business development or your marketing, I'm going to link to that in the description down below as well. That's awesomecreatoracademy.com. That is my at-home based business, and I think that I can genuinely help you to reach more clients, understand the digital landscape, and what you really need to be successful in the 21st century. I want to thank my friends at PayPal for sponsoring this video as well as other videos on this channel, and I really do appreciate everything they do for the online business community, for freelancers, for new business owners. And like I said, I'm going to link to a lot of resources that they put in their business development center down below. I think a lot of you might be underestimating how involved starting your business is, but also how many resources and support are available to you completely free for that journey of building a successful business. Question of the day: what is one free tool that you know will help grow somebody's business? What's a free tool that you're using right now or that has been recommended to you by a friend? Let me know in the comment section. Would love to hear back from you. Would love to do a roundup of your resources from the community. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content here on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.